The man in seat 13F whispered it so quietly that the nervous teenager beside him almost thought he'd imagined it. But then he saw the look in the stranger's eyes, calm, sharp, and terrifyingly certain. The flight had been ordinary until then, just another long haul across the Atlantic, with passengers half asleep in cramped seats, flight attendants wheeling rattling carts, and children fidgeting restlessly. Nothing seemed unusual, and then, without warning, shadows swept across the cabin windows. Gasps echoed through the aisles as two F-16 fighter jets appeared, gliding alongside the aircraft like hawks circling prey. Nobody understood what was happening, nobody except the quiet man in 13F. He didn't look important. His clothes were plain, jeans, a worn leather jacket, earbuds that weren't even plugged in. He had slipped aboard last, nodding politely as he passed the impatient line of travelers. He had blended in so perfectly that no one gave him a second glance. But now, with the roar of fighter engines outside, it was suddenly clear he was not just another anonymous passenger. The teenager beside him clutched his armrest. "What's happening?" he whispered. The man didn't answer right away. He simply shifted his wrist, and for a split second his sleeve slid back to reveal a metallic band. Not jewelry, not decoration. Something official, something military. The boy's breath caught. Across the cabin, passengers pressed their phones against the windows to record the jets. The fighter pilots were close enough to see through their tinted helmets, their wings steady, their presence a silent warning. Fear rippled through the cabin like static. The captain's voice finally came over the intercom, steady but tight. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing an unusual escort. Please remain calm, we have everything under control." But his tone betrayed him. Nothing felt under control. The boy turned back. "Why are they here? Are we in danger?" The man in 13F finally spoke, his voice low and even. "Not you, not this flight, they're here for me." In that moment, the boy felt the world shrink. The ordinary hum of the engines faded until all he could hear was the pounding of his own heartbeat. For hours, they had all sat beside someone invisible, someone overlooked. But outside the window, the world's most elite pilots treated him like anything but ordinary. One of the jets dipped its wing in a slow, deliberate motion. It wasn't a warning. It was recognition, a signal of respect. The boy swallowed hard. Who are you?" The man kept his eyes forward, his jaw tight, his gaze steady on the horizon. Someone who was never supposed to be found. Images seemed to flicker in his silence, memories of desert nights, missions whispered about in military camps, a call sign spoken like a ghost story among soldiers. He had once gone where others wouldn't, done what others couldn't. And then he had vanished, declared gone, erased, nothing more than a name carved into silence. And yet, here he was, in economy class, on a flight no one thought twice about. The passengers grew restless, speculation buzzing through the aisles. Some tried to question him, but he ignored them, his face unreadable. Only the boy found courage to ask again, softer this time. "If you're really who I think you are, why are you here? Why on this plane?" The man's eyes softened, heavy with something the boy couldn't name. "Because sometimes," he said quietly, "even ghosts have to come home." The words hung in the air like smoke, and the boy understood. Not everything was as it seemed. This wasn't a fugitive, not a criminal. This was someone carrying the weight of battles no one would ever read about, someone who had sacrificed everything and lost more than anyone could know. The fighter jets never left their side. They stayed with the plane all the way across the ocean, their shadows steady, their presence unyielding. And when the man in 13F finally leaned back and closed his eyes, there was no fear in him, only peace. When the wheels touched down hours later, he was gone. No one remembered seeing him leave, no one noticed him slip away. But the boy would never forget. Because once, for just a few hours, he had sat beside a legend, and legends don't always sit in first class. Sometimes they hide quietly in seat 13F. If this story touched you, subscribe and share it with someone who believes heroes walk quietly among us. And tell me in the comments, what country are you watching from tonight?